For today's art activity, we are going to be painting the background for our donut collage. I'm going to start by using a pencil to write my name on the back of my paper. Then I'm going to flip over my paper. I'm going to choose 3 analogous colors. Those are 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I am going to paint diagonal wavy lines across my paper. If the paint is drying out, you may need to add a little bit of water to it to get it to go across your paper nice and smooth. Leave a little bit of space for the other colors when you are making your stripes. You will have to go back multiple times and reload your brush as you are painting. Try to make the edges nice and smooth. I am working on making my wavy diagonal lines, making sure they touch all the way from edge of paper to the other edge of the paper. Keep them nice and smooth as well. I am using green first, and then I'm going to use blue and purple. If one of your colors that you want to use is yellow, I highly recommend starting with yellow first. If you want to use yellow, yellow has to be the first color that you paint. As we paint our brush, we clean it and then we switch colors. But if you do a different color before you paint with yellow, sometimes it's really hard to get that brush perfectly clean and the yellow gets contaminated and then it just doesn't look right. So if you want yellow, you need to start with yellow. I'm going to continue painting. I'm going to start with my next color and I'm going to add those stripes right next to each other. We do not want any white spaces in between our stripes. Make sure that they are touching. It is okay if it mixes a tiny little bit as you are going, but try not to mix them too much. If a lot of paint gets on the brush that is not the color that you are currently using, please wash your brush before you go back to get more paint. So if my green paint gets on the brush, but I'm not painting with green right now, I'm painting with blue, then I need to go and I need to wash my brush before I stick it back into the blue, even though I'm not switching colors. Because that green paint that is on my brush can contaminate the blue paint in the tray. And we are sharing the paint trays, so we do not want to cross-contaminate the colors. I'm going to continue this process for the third color. The third color is going to be purple. I have green, blue, and purple as my 3 analogous colors. Remember, analogous means that they are next to each other on the color wheel. Continue this process until you have filled in all of the space. No white spots should be left. The entire paper needs to be painted with wavy diagonal stripes. When you are done, clean up your materials, put everything away, your art goes on the drying rack, and you are done with today's part of the activity. Today, we are going to be making the donuts for our donut collage. I'm going to trace the inside and the outside of a pool noodle. Use the pencil and trace the shape 6 times on your piece of paper. Once you have traced the shape 6 times, you are going to go back and add a wavy line just around the inside of the donut. This will be the icing for the top of the donut. Make sure you're not making it too bumpy or too straight. It should be just a little bit of a curvy line. Now I'm going to start the process of coloring in my donuts. I am using Sharpies to color today. Please be careful with the Sharpies. They are permanent markers. That means if it gets on your clothes, it may not wash out. So please work carefully and neatly. Now, the donut on the outside of the wavy line is the part that is the cake of the donut or the dough of the donut. And this is going to be typically like maybe chocolate, vanilla, maybe strawberry. These might be pumpkin spice. They kind of look like a pumpkin spice flavor. Now, because we are cutting out our donuts, The extra paper around the donuts will be thrown away. So if you color outside of the lines, it is okay. We are going to cut these out, so if a little bit of Sharpie gets outside of the space, we will be able to trim that up when we cut them out. Also, I can use the extra space around the edges of my paper to test the colors, to see if I like the color and to see if it's working before I start using it. Take your time, color carefully and neatly. Make sure you use a variety of colors. Try to have a nice variety of donuts in your box. So now I'm going to take a black Sharpie and I'm going to outline all of the lines and trace over all of my pencil lines. This just helps to clean up the edges of the different shapes that we have drawn to make them look a little bit nicer. Take your time and trace over all of your pencil lines carefully and neatly. That looks good. I'm going to keep working until I have traced over all of the lines on all of the donuts. Now that I have traced over all of my pencil lines, I am going to get a white colored pencil and I'm going to add a little bit of icing decoration to the tops of my donuts. I am making just it's not a zigzag, but it's almost like a back and forth type of curvy line. Now, I can try to add some sprinkles if I want, but I think I might just stick to the white curvy line. That seems to work pretty good. The white sprinkles don't seem to be showing up very well on top of this green, so I'm going to keep on going. That looks better. You decide how you want to decorate your donuts. That looks good. A little drizzle across the top, maybe with a fun flavor of icing for my donuts. That looks really good. I'm going to keep on going, finish this up, and then we're going to start the last step, which is cutting and gluing. Now I'm going to use my scissors and very carefully I'm going to cut out all of my donuts. When you get to the center circle, fold the donut just a little bit, bend it, don't crease it, pinch the little space, and then slide your scissors in so you can cut out that white circle in the middle of your donut. Do this for all 6 donuts. Once you have all 6 donuts cut out, we are going to glue them onto our background. Take your donuts and using a glue stick, put some glue on the back and then place it into your picture. Repeat this process until you have glued down all of your donuts. When you are finished gluing down all of your donuts, you are going to clean up your materials, put everything away, and you are finished with today's activity.